Do you feel stressed today? How do you cope with it? In scientific literature, stress is pervasively portrayed negatively and as a threat to the mental balance and overall well-being. The general approach to counteract the negative effects of stress is to reduce and prevent stress. However, there's actually evidence that stress can lead to stress-related growth and can improve physiological and mental functioning. For example, the physiological experience of stress narrows attention, focuses mental resources, and can boost memory and performance in cognitive tasks. Recent research suggests that mindsets play an important role to counteract the negative effects of stress. Mindsets are mental frameworks that selectively collect and organize information in our complex surroundings and guide our beliefs and actions unconsciously. The purpose of adopting a specific mindset is not to prevent or avoid the experience of emotions during stressful experiences, but rather to take mental control over our beliefs and resulting emotions. Those with the so-called stresses-enhancing mindset believe that stress can have positive consequences for mental and physical health, as it can facilitate learning and growth. Those with the opposing stresses-debilitating mindset believe that stress has negative consequences overall and view stress as a threat rather than a challenge and believe that stress should be avoided. Extracurricular students, such as student athletes and musicians, are especially likely to benefit from a stresses-enhancing mindset because their supervisors encourage them to adopt a positive mindset and guide them how to cope with stress in a safe environment with supportive group dynamics. Emotion regulation is particularly important during the transition from adolescence to young adulthood, and due to the emotion regulation component of the stresses-enhancing mindset, we proposed in our study that those who adopt a positive stress mindset would be more likely to employ and benefit from emotion-focused stress coping. The goals of our study were to examine whether extracurricular students do in fact employ the stresses-enhancing mindset, and if such positive mindset can lead to affirmative effects on mental well-being and perceived stress. We predicted that having a stresses-enhancing mindset will have a positive impact on mental well-being and stress perception, and that the interaction of the stresses-enhancing mindset with emotion-focused stress coping strategies will be particularly likely to instigate positive outcomes in college students. We recruited 242 participants from the New York and New Jersey area in the United States and from Mannheim and Heidelberg in Germany. There were 112 extracurricular participants, such as student athletes and musicians, and 130 non-extracurricular participants. They responded to a series of demographic questions and a questionnaire about their stress mindsets, where a higher score corresponded to a higher stresses-enhancing mindset, as well as a questionnaire about perceived stress, mental well-being, and stress coping strategies, which were subdivided into task-focused coping, emotion-focused coping, and avoidance-focused coping. In Table 1, you can see the descriptive statistics of the participants who employed the stress-enhancing mindset as opposed to the stresses-debilitating mindset. In Table 2, you can see the correlational analyses, and we also conducted independent t-tests to assess whether the extracurricular students do in fact benefit from the stresses-enhancing mindset. We also conducted regression analyses, and in Figure 1 and 2, you can observe the mediation analyses, where we examined the effect of stress mindset and emotion-focused stress coping on mental well-being and perceived stress. As we hypothesized, we found that extracurricular students experience lower perceived stress and better mental well-being as opposed to non-extracurricular students. Our findings support that this difference between the student groups is due to their stress mindset. Extracurricular students were more likely to employ the positive stresses-enhancing mindset, whereas non-extracurricular students were more likely to employ the stresses-debilitating mindset. The stresses-enhancing mindset leads to emotion-focused stress coping to predict lower perceived stress and better mental well-being. The mediation analyses showed that stress mindset in part accounts for emotion-focused coping, and that the interaction between the stresses-enhancing mindset and emotion-focused stress coping leads to positive outcomes for stress perception and mental well-being. This difference between the student groups is likely due to the social environment of the extracurricular students, such as the guidance of a supervisor and the supportive group dynamics, which encourage positive attitudes towards stress in a safe environment. In future studies, the practices and instructions of the extracurricular supervisor should be observed, and the students' attitudes toward the supervisor should be examined in connection to their team dynamics. Stress mindset intervention strategies should also be developed and their efficacy compared to established stress prevention and reduction strategies. Overall, the study supports that employing a stress-enhancing mindset is an effective strategy to cope with the negative consequences of stress, as opposed to stress-debilitating mindset. Students who engage in extracurricular activities, such as athletics or orchestra, are more likely to employ a stress-enhancing mindset and use emotion-focused stress coping effectively, compared to students who do not engage in such activities. Engaging in extracurricular activities where a stress-enhancing mindset is encouraged is helpful because it prepares students to acquire and apply skills that will help them perform well under stress. In addition, having a stress-enhancing mindset leads to lower perceived stress and better mental well-being, and these relationships are in part due to their students engaging greater emotion-focused stress coping. The findings of the study suggest that the reduction and prevention of stress may not be the best way to counteract the negative effects of stress. Instead, engaging in activities where a stress-enhancing mindset is encouraged is helpful because it prepares students to perform well under stress as they learn to cope with stress in a safe environment. Thank you for listening. I'd be very happy to answer any questions. You can find my contact information by scanning the QR code below. Thank you.